When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood or birth, but the same mind and possessing a share of the divine, and so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together, like feet, hands and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. Many of us have to deal with the kind of people Marcus Aurelius wrote about, but are we willing to follow his advice? Because difficult people seem to know exactly where to pinch to hurt us the most. They enact our worst fears, go after our dearest. They laugh at us when we are most vulnerable, and care only about their satisfaction when we desperately need someone to tell us it will be okay. And usually what we do is react to their provocations with angry outbursts, ruminating over their behavior again and again, or feeling desperately helpless. Clouded by all that hurt and pain, we often fail to realize that these people are like quicksand. The more we fight them, the more we struggle, the deeper they pull us in. Marcus Aurelius knew this full well, so he turned to philosophy to show him the way. First, he learned to read people and see what they are really like. He observed and carefully listened to even the ones who presented themselves as most terrifying. To quote, "Enter their minds and you'll find the judges you're so afraid of, and how judiciously they judge themselves. Imagine their souls stripped bare, and their vanity. To suppose that their disdain could harm anyone, or their praise help them." Marcus recognized that toxic people are often their own worst critics, no matter how they might look from the outside. They often turn to vanity, boisterous self-praise, and blind ambition just to prove they are someone worthy of respect. But their strivings often turn out to be perpetually insufficient. Because ambition, as Marcus noticed, means that your well-being is reliant on what other people say or do. And in the case of toxic folks, they often desire praise from the so-called high-class society. They want to prove themselves to the elite so that they can feel superior to the rest. This way they feel they matter. But what is often forgotten is that the praise they receive is coming from equally unstable sources, who also tie their well-being to other people or external, mainly material things. And when your happiness depends solely on the outside circumstances, the ever-changing society makes it very difficult to find lasting contentment. But nonetheless, Marcus acknowledged that their role in the world is as important as anyone else's, so he wrote that some of us work in one way and some in others. And those who complain and try to obstruct and thwart things, they help as much as anyone. The world needs them as well. To reach this kind of acceptance, the Roman emperor learned to be realistic and not to delude himself with naively high expectations. He viewed the world as it is, a mix of all kinds of people, a harmony of opposites. As trustworthy people exist, so do untrustworthy. As honest ones do, so do dishonest ones. As humble folks exist, so do the entitled. This is as true today as it was 2000 years ago, so it would be naive of us to expect otherwise, especially now, living in a society focused mainly on developing through technology, where the matters of the mind are often left behind. Marcus also considered how we are all similar, no matter our differences. We are all humans, we have individual minds, but many circumstances, beginning even before our birth, determine how we look at the world and act after we're born. So we have different views of what's considered good and what isn't. We have different notions of how we and others should behave, and often, due to lack of knowledge and introspection, we are very critical of others' mistakes, but seldom of our own. So he recognized that you've made enough mistakes yourself. You're just like them. Even if there are some you've avoided, you have the potential. Seeing that we all sometimes behave unjustly towards others can lay the groundwork for treating those who do the same to us. And most of us have the tools for it, the tools being our virtues. So kindness and compassion shouldn't be reserved just for our friends, as the whole of humanity needs it. But this doesn't mean that the worst of us can do whatever we like without consequences. Marcus also reminded himself to treat others as they deserve, and while that included kindness towards all, it also meant not having the time for slanderers, not falling for every smooth talker, and making sure his actions were honest and just. This includes trying to show others what they're doing is wrong, but also having patience and realistic expectations. So Marcus writes, "Do your best to convince them, but act on your own if justice requires it. If met with force, then fall back on acceptance and peaceability. Use the setback to practice other virtues. Remember that our efforts are subject to circumstances. You weren't aiming to do the impossible. Aiming to do what then? To try, and you succeeded. What you set out to do is accomplished." In cases where dialogue isn't an option, we still might have the opportunity to cut ties with people who keep hurting us, and minimize our dealings with them. we also have the luxury that people in ancient times didn't: psychotherapy. So finding an expert to help us when we feel the need to may be the preferred solution to our situation. Finally, and maybe most importantly, when dealing with difficult people, we can fall back to our true purpose, which, according to Marcus Aurelius, is to be good. Other people may have their views and different opinions, but that doesn't mean we have to share them. We cannot control what they say or do, but neither can they mandate our actions or thoughts. So we should always be free to ensure our actions mirror our best selves, no matter the others. Marcus writes, "They kill you, cut you with knives, shower you with curses, and that somehow cuts your mind off from clearness and sanity and self-control and justice. A man standing by a spring of clear, sweet water and cursing it, while the fresh water keeps on bubbling up. He can shovel mud into it, or dung, and the stream will carry it away, wash itself clean, remain unstained. To have that, not a cistern, but a perpetual spring." And to be able to show continuous goodness, to be virtuous to ourselves and others, we may want to remind ourselves that the time we have is limited, and we will eventually pass away. So focusing on each moment we get to experience is vital. To learn how the Japanese do it, this is your next video.